What is up, guys? Welcome to the new episode of the Students for Trump show. Great to have you here. I'm the founder of Students for Trump. We're going to be having a great panel discussion today to talk about the Kamala crash, talk about the Adin Ross Donald Trump interview, and then, of course, the radical pick that Kamala made. And it's a gift to us, quite frankly, a gift to us by picking Tim Walz, one of the worst governors in the history of this country, one of the most far right governors in the history of this country. I'm going to be joined by a panel here just in a few seconds of some people. We've got Cam Higbee. We've got Bo Loudon. He is a close friend of the Trump family, friend of Barron Trump's. He was at the Adin Ross stream yesterday. He's going to break that down for us. We've got Mike Sparaza, who is an expert. He runs a podcast or is contributing to a podcast called The Financial Guys. These guys talk about the economy all the time. They talk about crypto. They talk about stocks. They talk about the things that really matter, that affect really, quite frankly, everyday lives. So without further ado, let me bring in our panel. We've got Cam Higbee, Mike Sparaza, and Bo Loudon. Welcome to the panel, guys. We want to jump right into this discussion because I know a lot of people, you're concerned about your 401ks. You're concerned about being able to retire, talking about some of those people near retirement age where the stock is in such a downfall. We've seen some ups today. We've got some green again, but we're going to break this down. What really happened, why it happened, what is causing it, what's driving it, what's the vehicle behind it. Mike, what do you think? Let's jump into this.
Well, I'll say, Kamala's been in charge of the Democrat Party, let's call it, for a few weeks now, and we're seeing a lot of uncertainty in the market. That, I believe, plays into it. I'm just going to name a couple things she said, Ryan, over the last few months or few years. She wants a double capital gains tax, and that is not a good thing for those that have money out there, for those that are business owners, have high-end homes, high-end real estate. You know, when you double capital gains tax, it makes people not want to sell their businesses and not want to grow the way they should, because you're worried about the tax consequences of that. You heard Kamala Harris try to explain inflation, Ryan. I don't know if you've seen that video recently. It was an older video, but she doesn't understand what inflation is. And that's a problem because it's not just about the markets. Inflation plays into that, right? I mean, for those out there, yes, there are people that have 401ks and IRAs and retirement accounts, but if you don't, inflation is eating away at you. Every day that you are spending money on goods like gasoline, like groceries, even, your homes, you have to repair homes, repair vehicles, that type of thing. Inflation is eating away at people. When you look at gas prices up 40%, groceries up some 50%, those things all play into it. And again, I think the biggest thing we keep doing, and this is the biggest problem, Ryan, is overspending, right? With 34 trillion in debt. And then you want to do, $1 trillion deals to do electric vehicles. You talk about spending money on two wars overseas. We keep funneling money to Ukraine. We keep talking. I mean, you look what happened this week, Iran, Israel, that's a problem. And we're going to be helping funding that. I mean, every day of the year, we are spending more money than we're bringing in. And that's a massive problem when you look at the markets. You just can't do that and expect the market to ease itself out. And again, don't look at necessarily at the market numbers at 40,000, 41,000. There's other factors besides the stock market in this country.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, we've even got some clips here that I'm going to play here shortly in a few minutes. But I mean, you got Biden out here saying I cured the economy. Then, 6 days later, the economy's in shambles. But we already knew that was going to happen. I mean, the signs have been out there for a very long time. You've got the conflict in Ukraine, like you said. You have the assassinations on these Hamas leaders. Wars about all out hell is about to break loose in the Middle East. And I think all of our viewers know that. You've seen it. If you're on X, if you're involved in any of these conversations or Twitter spaces, you know that there are heightened tensions. And this administration is asleep at the wheel. They don't know what they're doing. You got to look at the last 4 years of this country, this economy, right? Kamala Harris was right there in all those meetings and all those discussions. She said it herself, right? She is not well versed in the economy. I mean, she is a novice when it comes to any topic in regards to inflation. I remember she gave this speech, and I'm going to put this up on screen actually because I want people to actually see what you're getting from Kamala Harris. She's basically a neophyte when it comes to the economy, and that means new to the subject, has no clue what they're doing, and should be really taking advice from somebody else. But the other person who was in charge of the economy, economic advisor, Gene Sperling, left the White House yesterday. Left the White House to join the Harris campaign. Great timing. Just have to tell you that. Great timing. Let me play this clip here of Kamala on the economy so you guys know exactly what you're getting if you plan to vote for her. Here we go.
What else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation? right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority there.
I mean, you guys, what do you think about this? I mean, this is word salad. She has no clue what the hell she's talking about. Gets up here on a national stage and basically just repeats the same thing. We know it's a problem, lady. We know it's a problem. We know it's an issue. You can't afford gas. You can't afford groceries. I mean, I can't wait to see what it looks like at Christmas time. All the layaway. I mean, people can't afford this stuff. And that's who is running for president of the United States of America. What do you guys think?
Notice how she didn't answer the question, right?
No.
She just kept restating the question in different ways. And we also know that the price of commodities are increasing. The price of food rose by 3.8% in 2021. It rose by 9.5% in 2022, and it rose by 5.6% in 2023. It didn't raise by more than 2% in a single non-pandemic Trump year. People know that the price of food are rising, and they're struggling. They push things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which is an obvious attempt to deceive the American people and convince them that the Biden-Harris administration is attempting to reduce inflation. But the Inflation Reduction Act, projected by the Congressional Budget Office and Penn Wharton, was projected to either do absolutely nothing to reduce inflation or nominally increase inflation. It was a climate change bill in disguise, dedicated, now estimated to be $1 trillion to climate change proposals, which is more money than we spent on the Vietnam War.
When they put it in the name, what they're trying to do, you know that it's a bunch of BS, right? You always know that if they're putting that in the name, it's not what it's doing. It's no different than the border bill. They said it was a border bill, and 90% of the money went elsewhere other than our southern border. And that's one thing too, Ryan, real quick before Bo jumps in. When you look at her policies on the border as well, this impacts the stock market too. When you're allowing 16 to 20 million people in the country and you're offering them free health insurance, which means the American taxpayer has to pay all that money to pay for it, that's not good for the market either. Because again, you're spending more money and those people are coming in and not paying taxes. So that makes it even worse on top of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to look at the whole thing. I mean, there's so much to break down with this. I mean, she was the one who was the tie-breaking vote. I think it was back in 22, where she voted on this bill called the American Rescue Plan, which brought us up to 20% inflation. Now, if you want to look at the inflation numbers, we can pull them up on screen. We haven't really dropped down that much. I mean, we really haven't. Homes are still very expensive, and you're not getting much for the home you buy. You have to buy at least a $500,000 home to even get land. Otherwise, you're living in a condo. I mean, it's different everywhere, but where I'm at, it's like $500,000 home, you get a little piece of land, right? This is why young people live in the renter generation, And I know a lot of older folks out there, they say, and usually it's a Democrat, they're like, go out there, buy a home, pay off your college student loan debt. Well, they don't say that, but they'll say buy a home. They'll say, go out there and live, give a good, healthy life. And it's like, you can't buy a home. I mean, I'm blessed at my age that I was able to buy a home. And I think, some other people can say the same thing, but you have so many people and I'm only 28. I graduated in 2019, and I have people that I went to school with who graduated the same year as me, who are still living in apartment buildings, who still have to rent, and it's ridiculous. And then I had a call the other day with a friend, and he's African-American, and he's telling me, yeah, they're not voting for Kamala. They're done. I mean, the last 4 years have been such a shit show for people that they're willing to say, you know what? No, I'm not doing this again. I don't care if she's black or Indian or whatever. They don't care about that. They're like, this cackling moron has contributed to what has happened in the United States of America, because if Joe Biden was not there at the wheel, it was Kamala Harris. She was the one having to do the work. And I mean, she did a hell of a bang up job. But no, I mean, it's ridiculous. And I mean, people would even argue So with the 20% inflation, here are the stats. Byron Donalds posted about this. 1/3 of parents cannot afford back to school supplies. 50% of parents plan to sacrifice necessities to pay for their children's school supplies. That's happening right now in the United States of America, that you have people struggling to even get their kid the basic necessities to be successful in school. This is paper, pencils, binders, right? People are struggling at the very, very basic level. And I mean, I would even argue this: Jerome Powell waited too long. They could have cut these rates much sooner. With this lackluster jobs report where the actual number, instead of it going down, goes up to 4.3. You look at the jobs report, which was absolutely terrible. Quite a few thousands of jobs. And when they say, by the way, guys, when they say we brought new jobs back to the country, we brought new jobs. No, those jobs were already here. Those were already jobs that existed prior to COVID-19. We didn't bring any jobs back, quite frankly. Nobody wants to do business here. We just saw this in New York City, Mike. You're over in New York, where that office building, right? That it sold for like $350 million in like 2008, and then it sold for, I think it was what, 8 million, like a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's like a 97% reduction right there on corporate office space. No one wants to do business here anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, I own a business in New York. My business partners own a few businesses in New York. And yeah, I can tell you that right now, people, for many reasons, overregulation, for, crime. Nobody wants to have an office in a crime-riddled city, right? I mean, that's just, I live in Buffalo, New York. The east side of Buffalo is trash. And nobody wants to. I could buy a business or a building in east side of Buffalo for $20. I would never do it because my clients can't go there, right? I mean, they just can't go there because they'll get mugged, they'll get killed, they'll get assaulted. That's not worth it. You can't do it. And I don't know. At the end of the day, the problem I have with this whole thing is this is the party, the Democrat Party, that professes to help these people in need every election cycle, right? Every time we're going to help the lower and the lower to middle class. That's what they tell us. And what do? They overspend. The inflation is eating away at those people. The people that have money can afford the gas price to go up, can afford the eggs to go up, the bread to go up. They can suck it up and deal with it. The people that vote for the Democrats that they say they're going to help, get out of poverty are the people that are suffering the most. And that actually breaks my heart, to be honest with you. It kills me for those people because their promise is better lifestyle. And what happens? It gets way worse. You're debating putting food on the table or putting gas in your car. That's a horrible thing. It's not America.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this has been an ongoing thing. I mean, Cam, what do you think on this?
Yeah, well, I think one interesting thing, too, is that I always hear Democrats claiming that the president doesn't control gas and oil prices, which is ridiculous. Gas markets are so volatile that even the Saudis just announcing they're going to increase oil production has the capacity to change the price of oil percentage-wise in the double digits, right? Just announcing that they have the intention to increase production, words, like just not doing it, just saying they're going to do it. That's how volatile gas markets are. And a lot of markets are like that too. If you are projected to be the next president of the United States and you say that you're going to institute policies that are going to sort of corrupt the housing market, people are going to be less likely to buy houses. Which then also affects a ton of other people, right? People who sell furniture, people who sell appliances, people who sell anything that goes inside of a house, people who drive moving trucks, et cetera, right? People are going to be less likely to move. They're going to be less likely to buy houses. Markets are super volatile. They're super subject even just to words of leaders.
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. I mean, I've been in Twitter spaces over the last few weeks, and one of the biggest things to me is we had low gas prices under Trump, and one of the main reasons for that is because we had no foreign wars, right? The world is falling apart right now, and if people would be very stupid to not think that that does not affect our gas prices. The only reason why at certain points in the year, and you're going to probably see it right before the election, is the sell-off of strategic oil reserves. I mean, we are just selling this off, making it to where gas prices temporarily go down. It's sort of a mirage. It's not real. They go temporarily down, but we also lose our own oil. So, I mean, we have these relationships with the Saudis. Under Trump, we didn't have these gas prices. I remember when gas was under $2, right? I mean, it's just insane. So to say that U.S. policy doesn't impact that, you'd have to be a moron, to be honest with you. All of it does. Geopolitical stuff, 100% does. And that is one of the main causes as to why we're having to pay these prices right now. What do you think, Bo?
Well, you guys definitely got more lucky than I did. I started driving under the Biden administration, so it
Oh,
hasn't been so fun for me. Um, but I do find it funny how they are the definition of promises made and failed. Like they don't keep their promises, as Trump did. Trump is the first president to have no new wars under his administration. He had all these peace with all these countries, and then you have I don't know why they chose Kamala. I mean, I've heard theories about it. I know they have a giant campaign budget. I forget exactly how it works, but something along they have to spend that money now. If they were to put someone else in her place, they would have to give those campaign donations back. So they obviously don't want to do that. So that's why they're
right.
pushing out these TikToks and these ads, and they're everywhere because they're using all that campaign donations right now. But
Yeah, there's definitely an FEC thing there as well. That's
yeah,
that's that's
yeah.
why they had to do it this way.
And then we have our buddies Harry Sisson and those people that they're obviously funneling some good money. So you know
Harry Sissy.
Harry Sissy. No, I deal with those guys on Twitter, but I love. I don't know if you guys saw the one meme was really funny. It's been trending this week. It was Kamala Harris, and it was saying when you have to get 1,000 words in an essay, so you just keep repeating the same things over and over again. And it was that one clip of her saying, so it was hilarious. So I don't know. I don't know if they could have chosen worse, and I think, I think some Democrats actually could have a legitimate chance. Like RFK, for example, could have been. I mean, he could put up a genuine fight. That could be there could be some, they could butt heads on that, and he could have a proper debate. But Kamala Harris, I mean, I didn't think you could get less cognitive than Joe Biden, but then they put her in, and I'm like, wow. I mean, this is
Yeah.
who's going to be potentially running our country when she says, "Oh, I'm grateful for our peace with North Korea." She was in South Korea. Like I can't.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
It's the queen of word salad. I mean, you could call Hillary the queen of suicides. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, you can call her a lot of things, the coronated queen herself. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this is worse than Hillary, to be honest with you. You got someone even more radical than Hillary Clinton running for office right now. And it's up to us and it's up to the viewers here. We got quite a few people watching this stream right now. It's up to you guys as well. Take this shit to X, right? Start talking about these policies. Make it a thing that you do every single day. Make it a staple of your daily routine to put out these policies. Let the people know. Send DMs to people. Get your family members involved because the media is not going to do it. The media's failed their job already 10 times out of 10. That's why X is the number one news platform in the country. And that's where we get the most of our streamers, the most of our Twitter views or X views now is through that platform. So it's very critical that we do that. I wanted to jump to something here before we even go to the next topic, because the next topic broke the internet. I want to show people there's a new AI tool. I know everybody talks about AI, and Kamala most certainly needs to use AI. She has no original thoughts, so she has to use AI. So there's this AI tool called Uncensored AI, uncensored.ai. And I know the people behind it. And I mean, when I'm talking about uncensored, let me just put up this screenshot here. So this is actually from the tool itself, uncensored.ai. You can see the URL. It says, is Kamala Harris an African American? That's the question that was asked to this tool. It says, no, she is not African American. Kamala Harris was born, yada, 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 Oakland, California. Her mother was a Tamil Indian biologist who immigrated from India. Her father, Donald Harris, Jamaican American economist and direct descendant of a prominent slave owner, Hamilton Brown. Her mother was listed as Caucasian. Her father was listed as Jamaican on her birth certificate. The words black nor African do not appear on her birth certificate. Additionally, she ran as she ran as the first Asian Pacific American candidate in 2003. Ran as an Asian Pacific American for the San Fran DA race. Sworn in as the first American Indian senator in 2017. And then now she's running if she's African American. I mean, Jesus, can you make up your mind? What race are you? Like you can't be switching like this. It's like that Michael Jackson music video. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing in this country? But yeah, no, guys, sign up uncensored.ai. I know it's coming out sometime next month, but this is going to break the internet. It already is. From what I heard, they're getting like 30,000 signups like a month on this thing. So get in there. I think the beta is coming out next month, but I'm definitely using this because this is going to be fun to troll with. I tell you that. Go back to the main stage here. I wanted to, before we even jump on this, there's an ad that wasn't released by the Trump campaign. It was released by a guy named, I think it was Wesley Snipes was his name. I can't remember. It'll show it in the video, but I want to show this ad where it says Bidenomics is working. This is incredible. All they do is say Bidenomics is working. They have no policy whatsoever, right? The only policy that I have seen this administration run on, or Kamala run on, is you're weird. They are literally running off of the word weird. That is it. They have nothing else to show for. They have just this radical BS. And the only thing, or the only way you're going to get Kamala in front of a microphone after that nightmare on the tarmac the other night where it was just word salad, and even Biden was looking at her like, what the hell are you talking about? Even he was confused. We're gonna play this ad here.
Our economy is moving in the right direction.
Because Bidenomics is working. It's working.
Today we have the strongest economy in the world. Wages are up, the economy continues to grow, and inflation is down. Here's the economy and the environment. The stock market is a historic high, closed at over 40. Wages are up, inflation continues to come down.
We have never been down 1,000 points ever.
This has been a very bad jobs report. This is because of policies that triggered 40-year high inflation.
Inflation's up more than 21%.
Right.
That over the last year, there's been a net zero job growth.
I mean, nobody has done more damage to the economy than Biden and Kamala.
The Dow Jones is down about 1,010 points.
It's historically a sign that a recession is imminent.
That is called Bidenomics.
Yes, no, I mean that's what we're dealing with right now. I mean the economy is in shambles, whether you like it or not. I mean, most people, and we were talking about this before the show, Mike. A lot of people don't have stocks, right? Especially some of the people who kind of live paycheck to paycheck. And I mean, they're really struggling right now. They're losing money. Whether they have a stock or not, they're losing money because inflation's high, wages aren't growing, jobs aren't growing. We're losing all that. I mean, what would be your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I own an insurance agency in Buffalo, and insurance rates are going through the roof all over the place, right? That's just another one of those things. I'm just bringing that up because I do that every day. But when you look at this, everything has gone up. Getting your car fixed, getting, your grocery, everything in your life is higher. And to your point, Ryan, like we talked about, it's easy to talk about the stock market and how great that is, but a large percentage of America doesn't have money in the stock market or has very minimal. So unless you have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in the stock market, it doesn't matter if it goes up 5% or 7% or 8% because your income really isn't changing and you're losing out on the stock market because you don't have anything there. It's a really difficult thing. And again, you brought up the party of weird. If weird is for us not wanting our kids to go to child drag shows, and weird for us is not wanting to chop off body parts or not wanting women to compete with men, then I'll be weird all day. I'm good with that. Yeah. Call me weird, call me a bad person, but that party is destroying America in every way possible. It's not just the markets. It's not just children. It's the border. It's drug use. It's crime. It's foreign policy, everything they've done. And to Bo's point, why they don't put up somebody else. What are you going to put up? Gavin Newsom? I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with him.
Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom.
I mean, you look at this guy, Tim Walz, we're going to talk about later. I mean, BLM's happy for him, but people like us aren't going to be, so I don't know who they would put up that, Pete Buttigieg has been a disaster. Unless you go back to Hillary or Michelle Obama, I don't know who they're going to go to or who they would have gone to because they're a mess as a party as a whole.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up a really good point on that before we segue. I mean, this is a really big point. Culture, right? Andrew Breitbart said it best. Politics is downstream of culture. We need to start crawling back up the stream and change culture because that's really big. And yesterday, Donald Trump did that. I mean, he did it. He had streamer Adin Ross. That stream has over 100 million views at the moment. I know Trump is, and in case you didn't hear, Trump is doing a massive interview with Elon Musk on Monday. And I'm hoping that this is going to be a segue to get Trump back on Twitter, on X. We need him there. I want to live in his comments section, just like the Krasenstein brothers, sitting there all day, just attacking them, going back and forth, because that was like, Twitter 1.0 before they started really censoring people. We had a blast. And I know Trump did as well. So getting him back on there, that's going to be key. But let's go to talk about this interview. We have Bo Loudon in the space here. Bo is really well connected with the Trump family. He's been out there in these streets, as we would call it, in this good fight, trying to get the youth vote. He was at the Adin Ross Trump stream yesterday at the Mar-a-Lago. He was in the audience. And, Bo, I mean, what did it feel like? What was the energy there? What are your thoughts on this? I think this is something Trump should be doing all the time.
Well, I could not agree more. Aiden actually approached me a couple months ago. We were talking. He's like, I'm like, so what's your biggest goal with streaming? Because you kind of been not doing it. He was kind of, I don't know if you guys saw, he wasn't streaming for a couple months. He's taking a break. I was like, what's your goal? What's your future? He's like, well, my dream really is to get Trump on. And I'm like, that's a big deal. And he's like, well, I don't know. I've talked to some people, had no luck or any push on anything. I'm like, well, I'll see what I can do. So I talked to some people. We got in some group effort, talked to the Trump team, the comms team, everything, and we made it happen. And within a few weeks, and so going yesterday, I mean, it was insane. They locked down the place tight. I think because Aiden's kind of has a reputation. He has some people who don't like him who will SWAT his house and stuff. So they locked it down pretty tight, the Secret Service. But I liked it. And yeah, it was great. Great energy. Trump was in such a good mood. He clearly loved it. Aiden had some really funny surprises for him, like gifted him a nice Rolex and a custom Trump wrapped Cybertruck. It was hilarious. And the whole thing was just such a good energy. I mean, he was showing a slideshow of certain celebrities or politicians or whatever, and asking what Trump's could thought of them in one word, and it was hilarious. Like he showed one of Gavin Newsom, and I forget what Trump said, but it was so freaking funny. The whole room was laughing. So the whole thing was great. And I think it's good for Trump to step out of the kind of political norms, because Kamala's obviously doing it, having Megan Thee Stallion twerk at her rallies, but
Yeah.
I think Trump's doing it in a positive way. The Jake Paul thing, which I may or may not have something to do with as well. The Adin Ross thing, I think it's good. He's branching out and he's getting to the youth, because the youth is who they're attacking. With these drag queens, or whether with the things that they're removing religion from schools, things like that. The youth is their primary target right now because they know it's the future. So I think for Trump to really get in their faces, people have never even thought about thinking about politics. He's doing great. And again, that went massively viral. Over just on my Twitter alone was like 3 million views. But
Wow.
everywhere else, it's been everywhere. Elon Musk commented on one of my tweets about it. He commented on Aiden's tweet. So we're looking at that too. Maybe we'll do an Elon next Aiden stream as well. But the Trump Elon stream is going to be massive, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, Bo, you're killing it. Round of applause for you. I've seen your social media here recently. You're going up in numbers, man. You're going
Well, I
up in
appreciate
numbers.
it.
Yeah, that is all. Yeah, I've been seeing an uptick myself. I mean, I haven't seen these numbers since probably 2020 before, the Fedsurrection and, banning every conservative you can find on Twitter 1.0. So, no, I think we're all in a good direction here with this. But, one thing I want to ask you, Cam, too. I mean, what do you think about, this idea came up yesterday. I think it was the Quakening who posted it on X. And I couldn't agree more. It's low cost. It's very easy to schedule these things. I think Trump should spend 2 to 3 weeks at the Mar-a-Lago, still do his rallies on the weekend or whatever, but bring in streamers every other day or whatever. Do 30-minute interviews, 30, 40-minute, maybe an hour interview with each of these people, and just engage with the young people. Because one thing, in my role as the chair of Students for Trump and what we've done, we don't find it effective to just send a politician to a college campus who isn't someone like Donald Trump or Don Jr. and talk to the students, because they're boring. Right? No young person in a college classroom wants to sit there and listen to someone like Nikki Haley talk about the GDP. They just don't care. They really don't give a shit. They want something where they can engage with it, but they also don't want to be talked down to. They want you to talk at their level, and that's how you get the youth vote. But you also get it by you got to go to them. They're not going to come to you. Break into their culture. We're talking about having these streamers at the Mar-a-Lago every week, relatively low cost. You get in front of an audience that you probably never would have gotten in front of before. And I was even joking yesterday. I said, I replied to that thread and I said, why don't we have Barron Trump on the stream and Trump try to play Fortnite to get something different where it's like you got, it's a cultural breakthrough. When have you seen a presidential candidate or a president or former president do anything like that? Never. I would bet never. So, I mean, it's such an opportunity for him to just go out there, be himself, have fun, do different things. And really, it's the cultural piece, politics downstream of culture. We got to crawl back up that stream and inflict sort of all these ideals, change hearts and change minds within the culture. And I think we're doing it. We saw it with Amber Rose. I always say this message was not meant for us, right? It was meant to bring new people into the fold of the party. That's the purpose of why Amber Rose was even there to begin with. It's a Big Tent party. So, what do you think, Cam, on all of this?
Yeah, I think it's not even just low cost. I think it's actually almost no cost.
Yeah.
Minusing the cost of like Secret Service details, but you're going to have that with any event that he does. Just his existence entails a cost of Secret Service details. So yeah, no, I think it's great. This is what Kamala is running on. You've got to play the game. Her whole tactic right now is go on as many podcasts as she can, hang out with Quavo and hang out with Megan Thee Stallion, and hope that she can win over stupid white women in Gen Z.
Right.
And it's the sad part is it's working. Like that's what's scary is that so many young, stupid white women and women of all different races are jumping on the train because Kamala's brat or because she's, hanging out with Megan Thee Stallion or they get a free concert at a rally or whatever. Trump's got to play the game.
What the hell does brat mean?
Well,
I've seen that and I have no clue what that even means. They made it like they're like their cover photo. They have that like poor quality. If anyone goes to Kamala HQ's X account, look at the poor shit quality of their cover photo. I don't even know what they're doing over there. Maybe it's on purpose. I have no clue. It's
like degenerate stuff.
An interesting thing too is that it's with Adin yesterday, he gifted Trump a Rolex, gifted Trump a Cybertruck, which we could talk in legal terms. Trump didn't know about that. It was a surprise, of course, but it's almost like Adin's paying Trump to come on stream, right?
Yeah.
Vice versa, you have Kamala, who Adin exposed on his stream a couple days ago, paying Quavo and all these people to come do stuff for her. She has to pay her way to even get in the youth vote. Trump literally, these guys look up to him. They know what he did for this country. They know how notorious he is. He is on a different level than all these people. So he doesn't have to come pay them to worship him. He doesn't have to.
It also elevate conservative personalities and streamers too, right? Because if you have Trump on your stream, you're getting a huge bump. It doesn't matter like how you dice it. You're getting a huge bump from everyone, not just conservatives, but also from like liberal people who are undoubtedly gonna hate watch it, right? You get a huge bump in interactions, and you could propel a career off of that easily. So it also helps our voices.
And that's why Kamala backed out of the crypto conference as well, which I was at, the Bitcoin in Nashville, because when she saw that they wanted Trump there, she knew full and well that everyone there was going to be there to see Trump and not her. And when she going up on stage, she was going to get booed, and she knew it. That's why she pulled out.
One thing I'll say too is what I find amazing with Trump, and this is why we love Trump, but he'll go in anywhere and he'll do anything and doesn't care the repercussions of it. When he went to the journalism conference last week, he walked into the lion's den and he knew what he was walking into. He answered every question. He was on the attack, which I love. And he did this again with the crypto conference, which wasn't in the lion's den, but he went there. The interview yesterday, he'll go on with Elon. He will answer questions because he knows what he believes in and he loves what he believes in. That's what kills me with Kamala voters, to your point about people, the Gen Zers or the suburban white women that just won't vote for Trump. She won't answer a question. She hasn't to date. She has not answered a question or done a press conference since she was the presumptive nominee. That to me is problematic if you're an American voter. And if you can't see that, I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't see she won't answer questions because she has no platform and no real beliefs, that's horrifying for America if that woman gets in office. I'm telling you right now, Trump is exactly right when he says everything will fall apart. We will go to shit immediately.
Mike, she does have a platform. Like, don't lie, Mike. She has a platform. It's whatever she thinks will get her the most votes. So she originally supported Bernie Sanders' abolition of private insurance. She flipped on that when it became, when she lost moderate support. She as Attorney General, she didn't support private investigations into police shootings. Then when that became popular, of course, she gave her full support for it. It's just like time after time she supported a full ban on fracking, and then when she lost moderate support again, she stopped supporting a ban on fracking. So, yeah,
they've erased her history. That's what's wild. The media has erased the history of Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah, they whitewashed. They whitewashed everything. Some of the videos, like even when you do the Google searches, we saw Elon talk about this the other day. You type in Donald Trump and it pulls up information about Kamala's twerk rally. It's like I didn't search that. Why is this coming up? So it's like, and he's going and suing Google right now because of the advertiser stuff. And I'm like, more power to you, Elon. Sue the living hell out of them because they are the most biased, censored platform ever. Even DuckDuckGo, which I remember years ago championed themselves as like this free speech browser that was, not Google, much better. They're still doing the same crap. They're doing the same thing as Google. So let me bring this up. I want to go back because this is one of the wholesome, moments, because I think one important thing to bring about this Adin Ross interview with Donald Trump is how it made him look human, because the media, we know this time and time again, the media tries to make this guy out to be Hitler, out to be this robot, out to be, something that he is absolutely not. I want to play this segment. If you guys haven't watched the interview or you haven't seen the clips, this was from the end of the interview yesterday. Adin Ross in Donald Trump in his new Cybertruck. Watch this clip.
That's a good, yeah.
Your team picked out.
Yeah.
You want to pick a song? Let's test out this sound system.
Let's try it. And some of the artists I like better than others, but I like the other song better. So it's always tough.
Who's like your top 3 artists?
Well, we love Frank Sinatra, right?
Of course.
And there's a couple that I really like, but I don't like the people, so I don't want to really mention their name. But look at this list as an example. It's such a great list. Aren't the Beatles always good?
Come on, they're the best.
Rolling Stones are always good.
Choose one. Let's choose what you like to choose. You just swipe like this.
Oh yeah. That's fantastic, huh? How about, and we like the Beach Boys. We always like the Beach Boys.
We do like the Beach Boys.
Who doesn't like the Beach Boys? How about if we did the following? How about thinking that it's going to come back under proper management? How about California Dreaming?
Let's do it.
Good.
Let's test this thing out. All right, Elon. Let's see how good this system is.
It's a good-looking system.
It is, right? All right. Now Spotify is glitching.
You may have.
Oh, hold on.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely epic. I mean, this is the type of content people want to see. It's like we can talk policy, we can do that. We talked about that at every single rally. He talked a little bit of policy in the beginning of this. One more clip, and this is a really short one to kind of get a visual of Trump. This is my favorite. It's a very short clip. It's more of a TikTok than it really is a video. We'll put it up here on the screen. They're like, so I just had to play that one because it's absolutely incredible that you have, just such a cultural president. We're lucky enough to live in this timeline where you have a guy who's not afraid to go out there, out of his comfort zone, do the YMCA dance with, one of the top streamers in the world. It's just incredible, which is why I hone him back on that point that we really need Trump to get in front of these streams more often, get him in front of a video game. And this is an idea, Bo. And I brought this up on a stream last night. I think we should create something called Gamers for Trump, right? Get a bunch of people together, get a big channel together of people who are going to play like maybe Fortnite, Call of Duty, whatever these new hit games are out. I don't even know. I haven't played games in years, but get them in front of the, have it where, we're talking politics while we're out there killing enemies on the battlefield, right? I mean, it's just different. Right. It engages a different audience. And I think we have to do stuff like that. I really do. I mean, what do you guys think? I think we need to get out of the box with these ideas.
Well, I think it's good, too, when you do something like that. And it was one of the things I love about that is it was so off the record. It wasn't scripted at all. There wasn't any plans for anything. Like, it was all just off the cuff. And when, like one of my favorite moments, I posted this to Twitter. It did very well. But Trump noticed a lady in the audience who was in a wheelchair and looked very old and very timid and just, was sitting there just enjoying being there in his presence, watching him speak and hang out with Adin. She was just so happy to be there. And he pointed her out and he was like, well, look at you. You're beautiful, aren't you? Whatever. He's like, let's get a photo, whatever. treated her like gold, made her feel amazing. She wasn't going there expecting that at all. That was just exactly him showing his character and what he wanted to do. And they were in the middle doing other things, and he could have just walked off and continued with the stream on what they were telling him to go do. But he was like, no, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to take a picture with this lady and make her feel good, make sure that she has a good day. Stuff like that is exactly what we need. People need to see that side of Trump. They don't really see it as much. But it's not a new thing either. He's been doing this since the 80s. He would do random acts of charities for people, and then it wouldn't get even picked up in the news till like 2 years later. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's just who he is, and that shows someone's character. And when they try to attack his character, it's almost laughable because he is one of the best characters, if not the best character of anyone I've ever met.
Yeah. No, I agree. Anybody else got something to add on to this?
I think it was great.
Yeah. I think it was, I think at the end of the day, the more we do stuff like this, the more we branch out, go to audiences maybe we haven't tapped into before, I think it's going to be better in the long run. And, I tell people this all the time. We can look at Kamala as a crazy radical leftist cat lady. We can look at Tim Walz as the same. But, we've got to keep our heads down and keep fighting. This is an election we can't afford to lose, folks. I mean, it really isn't. The world's going to change. It's going to affect global stocks. It's going to affect foreign wars, geopolitical politics. You're going to see the issue with Ukraine. Ukraine's going to get more money, raising up our rates over here. Same thing is going to happen down in the Middle East. So, I mean, we need a guy who can walk in there, do a deal, end the conflict, peace in the Middle East again. We just need something like that. But one of the next topics, and this is kind of sort of the final topic we get to, is Tim Walz. Right. I know all of you guys may have some stuff. I know, Nick, you've been on X all day. Mike, you've probably been checking things out. Bo as well. We got this guy who is just as radical as Kamala Harris, if not more radical. I kind of want to jump into some of this stuff. We've got like 2 clips as well for this. But you're talking about a guy who passed legislation. Now, I didn't know this until today, until I started looking into the opposition research. He literally passed legislation that allows the state to take custody of your child if you do not agree with giving them gender affirming care. So basically what that means, let's say you have a 14-year-old son, right? Let's say that son suffers from depression and he believes, or the doctor believes, it's because of gender confusion. If you object to castrating your son, the state has all legal rights to take that child away from you. Get that. The state has all legal rights, if you do not want to castrate your kid, to take that kid away from you. Well, what do you guys think about this?
I can't even believe we're talking about it, honestly. I mean, it's total lunacy when you think about it. And I'll send this to you guys, other than it is honestly, it's unfathomable that we even are spending 30 seconds talking about this on a stream. It's wild to me that we're even talking about taking a child away from their parents because they don't want to chemically castrate them or physically castrate, whatever it is. To me, this is how far we've come in America. And by the way, this isn't a very long time. It's been a decade or two we've come to this. And it scares me what another 4 to 8 to 12 years could do, that we're talking about this. We're talking about kids at drag shows. We're talking about, in my county here in Erie County, New York, let me just give you a quick thing. It's not about that, but they don't tell people not to do drugs anymore. They tell people, make sure you do drugs together or get your fentanyl testing kits. What the hell's wrong with you? Right? What happened to say no to drugs? What happened to don't do cocaine or don't do heroin or don't do crack, right? I mean, like, that's where we should be, not like, hey, if you're going to snort that cocaine or shoot that heroin, just make sure you test it first. That's your best option.
Yeah, in New York, you guys have, like, I remember learning about this years ago, you have like safe injection sites. I mean, what the hell is that?
Yeah, we also had crack cocaine or crack pipe vending machines in New York City at one point.
You gotta be, you're kidding, right?
I'm not. And of course they ran out of stock very quickly in New York City. But that's the type. Now, and in New York City too, they just rolled out black garbage cans. That was a new thing Mayor Adams did a couple weeks ago. He invented garbage cans. So we're spending our money in the right places here in New York. But seriously, I mean, this is where we are in America. It's terrifying, honestly.
Yeah, I saw him roll those trash cans out like he did something.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, what the fuck? I'm sorry for the language. I have a trash can right outside right now.
Life-altering inventions here in New York State. Yeah,
I think the transgender children thing goes back to like the most simple argument. Even their most advanced argument is like, oh, their brain chemistry scientifically doesn't align with with their what their body is, right? That's their most advanced argument. Okay, so it's like a disease. It's a mental illness. Then if that's what, there's something wrong with their brain, there was some kind of mutation or thing that went wrong in the development process that caused something to go wrong, and now you have a mental illness. Okay, so it's a mental illness, right? We don't affirm mental illnesses, right? We don't tell schizophrenic people that the voices in their head are real. You should act on those voices and do what they say. We tell them to get help. We tell them to go on medication and get therapy. We don't affirm those things. So I think it's so weird that this is the one issue where we affirm this even for children, and it's a sexual topic.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's disgusting. You know, I actually I talked to Cam about this a little bit. I was on a debate panel not too long ago for a Jubilee video. I don't know if you guys heard of Jubilee, but they're a pretty big YouTube channel, got like 8 million subscribers or something on YouTube. But it was a Trump versus Biden debate, and somehow we got into talking about gender stuff. And the guy was like, "My home state in Tennessee, if a child confesses that they're having feelings of being trans or gay or whatever, the school is required to tell the parents." And I clapped, and he got mad. He got really heated. He's like, "Parents will kick their kids out of their homes or whatever, or send them to camps." So I'm like, okay, no parents kicking their kids out of the home, and if they do, the state will do something about it. But at the same time, if they want to send them to a camp, that's the parents' right. They can do what they want with their own child until that child is 18. If you want to go and do what you can, you can. It's the same thing. Like if a I don't know, it's completely different topics. If a kid wanted to go and tell his parents, "Oh, I have my brain's telling me I need to be an alcoholic. Let me drink alcohol." You know, you don't need to play into these delusions, and you shouldn't. And if the kid wants to go be delusional when they're 18, go be delusional. But the parents have legal control. They should at least just have legal control with their own kid until they're 18. You know, my parents want to go tell me, "Hey, stop doing social media right now." That's their right, and I can do that. I can go back and do it when I'm 18, which is a few days actually. But you know, so it's stupid. I can't believe we're playing in a delusion or fighting with the parents. That's the biggest thing with the Democrats that makes me mad is when they destroy the family unit. Which kind of stems to everything when you really think about it. And they're destroying that on top of attacking the parents directly, telling them, "No, we own your kids more than you do." It's disgusting.
Can we just
bring back the mental institutions? Let me just say that. Bring back the mental institutions. Stop closing them down. We have too many people who are suffering from something, and they need to go somewhere. Bring them back.
Can we just talk about the weird thing for 1 second too, Ryan? The Democrats' weird point. One of the weirdest things that's going on in America is adults wanting to talk to children about sex and about everything. I mean, to me, that is one of the weirdest things. I'm a 32-year-old father of an 18-month-old. And as a parent, you have to talk to your kids about, as they get older, you have to say certain things or talk about certain things. It's a 1 or 2 time conversation. It is not a every day or week or month talking to your kid about these things. It is beyond weird to me. It's mentally ill to me that we're talking and these adults enjoy talking to kids about sexual things. I will never understand it as long as I live. I don't want to talk to my buddies about that stuff, let alone a young child about it. It's just bizarre to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I don't know if you guys saw that video. I don't have it to pull up right now. People have probably seen it if you're watching and you're on X, of those people in San Francisco that were getting confronted, and they're butt naked. And they're at this parade and they're walking down the street and they're waving at kids and all this stuff. And they're getting called out for waving at kids. And I'm like, who brings their child to this stuff? I mean, and it's like, oh, it's human nature. It's natural. And I'm like, they're children. You're taking away the innocence of a kid. He's going to be like, what is this? What's going on? And then the parent has to explain it to them. And if their parents are that screwed up to bring them there in the first place, I'm sure that conversation goes very well. But let me jump back onto Tim Walz, because that's a conversation worth having, because this guy, I thought they were going to go with Shapiro, but if it wasn't Shapiro, it was going to be a boring radical. And that's what Tim Walz is. Not a lot of people like him, even in his own state, unsurprising enough. Go to 2020, right? Let's look at 2020, because Tim Walz, and I got a video to play for this as well. Tim Walz was the governor when the George Floyd riots happened. He sat there, let it occur. Didn't even bother to get the National Guard in there until last minute. And then I see an interview today of his wife saying that she was doing a sit-down interview, and she said, "Oh, I smelled, the smoke from the tires burning, and I tried to leave the window open as long as I could so I can continue to remember that smell. And I'm like, what kind of sociopath are you that you want to smell tire smoke from burning vehicles in your own city? It's insane. But I got a clip. I'm going to put it up here of what Minneapolis, Minnesota looked like after the George Floyd riots. Let's cue this clip. Now, I know you guys remember this. It looks, you would think that that's like Gaza. It's like an 18-wheeler there.
Do you have a relation to this?
Okay, so there you have it. There you have it. That, in case people need a reminder, because I know it's not you guys that are listening. I know you guys remember 2020. I know you guys remember what happened in this country, the summer of love. They tried to storm the White House, which I would argue, and I will say this time and time again, that was a real insurrection. All right, what happened on January 6th, that was child's play. All right, that was a real insurrection, what you just saw on that camera. And that happened in countless cities across the country. Police stations burned down, the U.S. Capitol. I remember seeing the footage. Cam, I know you remember this, where you're watching from the skyline of Washington, D.C. I remember I was there. I was in a hotel. I was looking out my window. You had smoke. It looked like Juarez, Mexico. All right, that is what we dealt with. And people need to not forget that this guy was governor and he failed to protect his own people. He failed to protect his city. And then you have his wife saying that she wanted to reminiscence on the smell of burning tire smoke. These people are nuts. What do you guys think?
Well, on top of he did not just not bother to bring in the National Guard. He directly blocked the National Guard from coming into Minnesota. I want to point out too that a lot of those protests, the riots, happened after the election in 2020. So you're going to see that again this year. They're already heating up. They started heating up around this time in 2020. They're heating up right now. I've been to plenty of them. I've been to protests just in the past 3 months in Seattle. I've been to protests in LA, Berkeley, and Irvine. And I have not been to a single one yet, except the one that I went to in Seattle literally 2 days ago. Other than that, I haven't been to a single one of these pro-Palestine, anti-Israel protests where I haven't been assaulted, just beaten and bear sprayed and whatever else, and they're destroying stuff. What makes this different, though, is previously the progressive BLMers supported putting Joe Biden in office. They don't support Kamala. And it is the same people. The BLM people are the same people that are doing this now. They distribute communist propaganda at the protests. I have a whole pile of propaganda that was handed to me just yesterday, right under here, socialist newspapers, all kinds of other stuff. It's the same people. And even the people that are not socialists, that are not necessarily aligned with the progressives, people from the Middle East that are protesting right now, these people also don't like Kamala. They're the same people calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe right now. They're going to continue to protest after the election. And I think what people need to understand about this is they need to do some introspection, discover or decide whether or not they want a person, a vice president and a president in office that are going to do something about those protests when they start or when they heat up, or if they want somebody who previously supported those protests the last time they happened, the riots the last time they happened.
Right. Yeah, no, and next time you're on here, and by the way, everyone, Cam is one of my co-hosts. He's great. He goes out on the scene, gets all these videos, basically risks his life going in front of these nut jobs to get all this footage. And I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it. The anti-Israel, anti-Jewish protests that happen on college campuses. He's been there. So next time we have you on there, we're going to have to show some of that footage, upload it here and show some of it, because I know people, that'll change hearts and minds. Seeing what they're doing to Jewish students, blocking doors so they can't get to class, blocking hallways, cutting tires, slashing, breaking windows. It's insane what they're doing on the college campus. One thing I want to go to, though, on Tim Walz, and we can circle back to this one. This guy, and I don't know if anybody's heard of this yet. It's on X. It's sort of went viral a little bit. I posted about it. But this guy, a few short years ago, signed legislation that would give all illegal immigrants in the state driver's licenses. So he signed legislation that if you are an illegal immigrant here illegally, they call them undocumented immigrants because it makes them feel better, I guess. But they're here illegally. They're breaking the law very clearly. He signed a bill, and I'm gonna pull it up here, the news report, because this is just insane to me. Here, let's pull it up.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that's vital here for people to know. The only thing that you need in this state, I mean, it's a driver's license. I'm looking at it right here. All you need to vote is a driver's license. That doesn't tell people if you're here illegally. So these people can vote in our elections if they have a driver's license, which I'm sure they do because he legalized it. I mean, what do you guys think on this? I mean, it's happening across the country too. This is not the only state.
How convenient. All I'm going to say is how convenient. You know, my dad's been fighting against this for years, since we went back when we lived in California. We're in Florida now. He's been fighting against this, representing against non-citizen voters. And Jerry Brown didn't like it at all. He did a lot of work directly against my dad, the governor. And he didn't like my dad either. Did a lot of stuff to get him out of California. So I mean, it's disgusting. And they're funneling these illegal immigrants and saying, oh, you know, just vote for the right party. You know, here's your driver's license. Here you go. And a lot of people, I'm sure, anyone, if you guys have been at the border or you guys watch like a guy on one of my mom's friends, Ben Berkwam, is on America's Voice. He goes to the border all the time, but he'll just show they toss out their IDs because they know they're going to get new ones. And there's just thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of IDs just all over the wall. It's crazy.
I mean, half of these people you don't even have records for. So, I mean, they could just change their name anyway.
Yep. Pablo turns to Pedro. He can do whatever he wants.
They were also shouting "Si se puede" at the end of that when they signed it, which means it can be done in Spanish. And it was popularized by the United Americans, a farming union. Who went to the border of the United States, established a tent line, and beat the hell out of any illegal immigrants they could find with whips and chains. So I don't know, I don't know why they always say puede. So
that's interesting.
Got to give them credit though for the ID thing. At least I guess they ask for IDs to vote in that state. In my state, we don't really care about IDs. You just walk in and you vote right ahead here in New York. So and I'm obviously kidding and being facetious, but the fact that people don't see this, and the fact that Kamala Harris can go on TV or whoever and say that they're not letting people in to vote, they are exactly letting people in to vote. That's the reason they're letting people in, because those people are not, a lot of them are not productive members of society, maybe other than dealing drugs and making money on the side doing that way, which is non-taxable, obviously. This is the downfall of America, and we're watching it in real time. And because of platforms like X and different things, we can see this stuff in the video of it. This is truly the downfall of America in real time. We're watching it spiral out of control overnight.
Well, Mike, you were being facetious about the ID thing in your state in New York. I'm from New York. I moved to California a couple of years ago, and I'm not joking. The first time I voted in California, my friend and I went up to the desk to check in, and we reached in our back pockets to grab our wallet, and they literally leapt at us like they thought they were going to get in trouble. Like, no. Like they thought they were going to get in trouble. It's insane.
Yeah. When I voted during COVID, when I voted for Trump during COVID, you had to walk in with a face diaper on. You had no choice. And then they don't ask to see your face. They don't ask to see ID. The signature I had in the book was from when I was in high school. It's not even the same signature I have now. So my question is, what is the point of even asking people? Just go tell people to go vote for whoever you want them to vote for, because you're not actually getting any checking of the voter identification, right? I mean, it's, to me, again, I don't understand why we even have to talk about this. To vote in this country, you have to be a citizen of the country. You have to show up on voting day, and you have to show identification. Boom. It's very simple.
Yeah. Well, that's we have that issue in North Carolina. You can vote with a student ID in the state of North Carolina. That's why you look at Appalachian State, which is in Watauga County, overwhelmingly blue when most of the state is in red, because it's college students who are voting Democrat with their student ID. Now, keep in mind, guys, I think there's about 18 states that allow student ID. Student ID does not, that doesn't tell you if they're here legally or not. That's just a piece of, a little piece of crap PVC that you eventually lose throughout the college year at some point, and you get a vote with that. It's insane.
It doesn't tell you if you're an actual resident of that state either. Tons of college
Yeah.
students imports from other states.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what they're able to vote with at App State, so that's why it's a blue county, and you see that issue everywhere. I mean, it's not just in North Carolina. You got it up in Michigan. I mean, in New York, they don't even want your stuff. You just said in California, they tell you to just put it away. I don't want to see your ID. It's like is it criminalized to show the ID? I mean, what are we even doing?
To get a can of Zyn, I got to show identification, but to vote in an election, I don't have to do it. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, that's just insane to me. That's insane to me. I wanted to show, before we even continue this conversation, I wanted to pull something else up because I know we've got a bunch of crypto people here. I have a really good friend. He's got a crypto coin that is backed by Don Jr. He was at the cryptocurrency conference in Nashville. He did a panel with Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump Jr. The coin is called MAGA. And I wanted to show it. It's definitely something that I'm looking into. I already bought some of it, but you can go to their website. It's MAGA with 2A's.io. And I mean, these guys are investing funds that is raised with the coin to help out political candidates across the nation. So, I mean, you could come to this website. You can kind of get more information on it. I won't spend too much time on it, but they've been, seen in Newsmax, all these different things. They're on X. They've got big following, and we're going to be doing Twitter Spaces with them over the next couple of weeks to sort of get the word out there, get the messaging out there. But, feel free to check it out. If you guys want to buy it. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm just putting that information out there for you. But know that Don Jr., Tucker Carlson, they're behind this. So it's definitely a great thing. It's going to help a lot of candidates. So without further ado, we'll go back to the discussion. But no, you guys are 100% right. Tim Walz, what do you guys think overall about this pick, though? We were talking about Josh Shapiro. There's obviously a very large part of the Democrat Party that does not support Josh Shapiro because he's pro-Israel, and he had to come out and sort of, play the rigmarole with that policy position. But I honestly think there's a very large section of the Democrat Party that do not like Jewish people, and we saw that on the college campus. We saw that with the anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian protests. There's a very large group of activists, which loudest in the room. They may not represent the whole party, and they don't, but they're the loudest in the room, just like the Squad was and still is to this day. What do you guys think about this pick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that he has a reputation. I mean, Minneapolis was easily probably the most besieged city in 2020, and he built a reputation off of that. He also did all the trans stuff and a ton of other things. So I think it works for us that he's such a terrible candidate. I almost think that Josh Shapiro might have pulled worse with Democrats, honestly. But hey, I mean, it could be a lot worse. You could have somebody who's competent. So.
You also have to mention, too, one thing that people are forgetting. This guy abandoned his National Guard unit when he got the first notification that they were going to deploy to Iraq. Just adding that in there. Just putting that out there.
Well, then it seems to... Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead, Bo.
Okay.
No, you could.
Yeah, having said all that, you guys obviously know what I think. I think just pathetic. Lower than trash. So, I mean, good luck for Kamala. Good luck for all them, but... It's embarrassing that those are even the two people I have to go on the news and see that that's who we're fighting against. It's just embarrassing.
Well, he signed that bill. He also signed that bill. I got to mention this. He signed that bill that put tampons in the boys' bathrooms in schools. So now we call him Tampon Tim. Everybody coin it. Tampon Tim. We need graphics. We need graphics for the next show. We're going to have Tampon Tim right up in this space. We're going to put it in the logo. We're going to have his face right there, and we're going to broadcast it. That's his new name. Can't wait for Trump to start using that.
I got to jump off. Actually, guys, quickly, I'll let you jump. I got to jump off. I got a 6 p.m. meeting, but it was great talking to everyone, and I really appreciate you guys.
Hey, you as well, Bo. Thanks for the insight, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Have a good one.
All right, Mike, what were you going to?
Well, I was going to say two things. Again, you bring up the Tampon Tim thing. I can't even believe we're having that conversation live on the air too, but this is where we are. What I will say, in my opinion, though, don't underestimate the media, don't underestimate the Democrat Party, and don't underestimate people that shouldn't be voting or dead people or whatever it is that vote and pull the lever for Kamala Harris on November 5th. You said it earlier, Ryan. This isn't over. It's nowhere near over. We have to keep the fight going. We have to keep the push going for Donald Trump because it has to be too big to rig. And I agree with Donald Trump when he says that, and he's exactly right. We have a lot of people that watch CNN in this country. We have a lot of people that go on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is that are just getting bad news and bad information. If I didn't know any better, I would think that Trump abolished abortion. He didn't, but that's what they tell us, right?
Mhm.
I would think that the border is secure because that's what they tell us. And I know people have to open up and open their eyes a little bit, but when you don't care about this as much as people like the three of us do, you don't know any better. You listen to the TikTok trends, you see Kamala Harris dancing and you think her laugh is funny and all these different things. It's not over. It's not even close to over. We have to push Donald Trump back into office. Everybody has to do their best. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, go on X, do whatever you got to do. You have to make it too big to rig. Do not underestimate. I don't care how bad Kamala Harris is or Tim Walz is or Gavin Newsom or whoever. It doesn't matter. You got to fight hard because it's not over yet.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah, what do you think, Cam?
I've seen a lot of conservatives make the exact mistake that you're talking about right now. I've been in a couple spaces in the past couple days, especially after Walz was announced, and it seems like the majority sentiment is, oh, this, they're both so terrible. There's no way they win the election. That is the exact mindset that we had in 2020.
Yep.
And the likelihood of Joe Biden winning the election seems way less likely than the likelihood of Kamala Harris, who can, arguably spit out a coherent sentence, and is much younger than him and clearly not suffering from dementia. So I don't know. We have to hit him hard. I think that this is going to be a much more difficult election than the 2020 election, just because of the candidate and the two candidates involved, the vice president candidate and Kamala Harris. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. So yeah, I don't know. Don't underestimate, like you said. And the interesting thing too is you brought up the border numbers. They keep lying to people and telling them that things like the border numbers are down. They watch TikToks is what they'll tell them, or hear it in a space or whatever. And the funny thing is always it's there's X amount less encounters over the past X amount of months. Biden's fixing it, but it's really like, they're up like 10,000 and they go down 4,000 or something.
And to that point, two things if I could say. John Fetterman won an election in this country and couldn't speak. Okay, so let's not forget that. I mean, not that Dr. Oz was a great candidate, but he beat Dr. Oz without being able to literally to form a sentence. He made Joe Biden look good on the mic. And then on top of that, you bring up those numbers. Look, they keep telling us inflation's down. It's not as high as it was last month, but that doesn't mean it's down. Inflation, every time it's a positive number, is a bad thing. And that's what's happening. If it's at 6, 7, 5, 8, 6 back to, it doesn't matter. Inflation continues to eat our country alive. But if you don't know any better, you think, oh, numbers are going down, jobs are going up, wages are going up. It's a bunch of hooey, but people don't know any better, and they're going to vote for that person. You got to remember that stuff.
Well, a good way to think about it is it's like they're claiming that they're fixing the problem that they created, but they're not actually. They're fixing like a quarter of it, right? They've recovered it like a quarter, a fifth of what it was before, or a tenth or whatever. But they're not fixing the actual problem. They're just remedying it temporarily.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good point. I mean, everything that they have put out is superficial. They're not running on policy. I said that before. For all the new listeners here, they're running on that's weird. They're just calling us weird. And I'm like, well, okay, if me supporting, the nuclear family, me not wanting to see kids get, castrated or, get sexualized at the age of 5, then yeah, call me weird all day long. You nut jobs are the reason why this country is going in the direction it is. And yeah, I mean, you can't underestimate it. I think in 2020, a lot of people got complacent as well. I mean, obviously we can talk about the election fraud aspect, but there definitely was a lot of complacent people. There was a lot of people willing to sit home thinking that Trump had it in the bag. And that cannot be the case this time around, guys. I'm being serious. We have got to show up and turn out in numbers we have not done before. Whether it's you got to get your van, get your family, friends out to the polls on election day or early voting, do it. Do everything you can. We're on Twitter, we're on X, we do that, but go and join something like Scott Pressler's Move It. Download the Early Vote Action app. Go out there and phone bank, door knock. Join the local regional campaign office. Help them. And if you need help with that stuff, send me a DM. I can put you guys in the right direction, the right contacts. You can also go to our website, which is todayIsAmerica.com. And I think I have a Chiron for that. We'll put it up here on the screen. Yeah, right there. Let me see. It's not. Oh, there we go. Join the movement. todayIsAmerica.com/students for Trump. If you guys want to join, that's the best way to do it so we can get you connected with the right representatives to go out there and really make an impact in this election. But we've got to make it too big to rig. We cannot be complacent. We've got to keep our heads down, keep fighting. The one way you win against these guys is putting out the information that the media refuses to put out. Like I said earlier, make it a daily habit. Go on X, go on Facebook, type about, oh, did you know? Or in case you didn't know, Tim Walz did this, or Kamala Harris did this. Add a video, add a graphic. Go out there because you are your own social media star. You're your own influencer within the sphere of people that you're friends with, whether you grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, right? Let's say you live there and you got a whole bunch of people on your Facebook friends list who live in Birmingham, Alabama. You're an influencer. You can go and micro-influence to those people, put out that information, get it in front of them, so then maybe they'll make a decision other than, what they're hearing from the mainstream media or the opinion hosts, the talking heads, the pundits, the mouth breathers, as I call them, that you hear on MSNBC or CNN every single night, spewing the same rigmarole bullshit every single night about Kamala, whitewashing her past, not talking about how she was the most far-left senator in the Senate when she was there. GovTrack deleted that, actually. They deleted that off their website, which was incredible to me. They literally removed the survey that proved that she was the most far-left senator. So they're going to try and do that. So it's up to us to get that information out there, get past all of the BS, and really just deliver the message home. Donald Trump is going to be the one to fix the country. It is not going to be another 4 years. If you guys look 4 years back, this country has never been in a worse spot, probably since Barack Obama with the recessions of 2008-9, right? We're heading towards that. Every indication, we may have had a reverb today, but I'm telling you, every indication with how Jerome Powell's handling the Fed, you talk about the crypto market, you talk about what's going on with geopolitical, situations with the Middle East, with Ukraine, which has been going on for 2 years now. We've given them probably, $500 billion. I don't even know how much we've given them. You can't even keep track of this crap. And then we lose money. You guys see that number the other day where we accidentally gave the Taliban $237 million. I'm like, how do we do that? Can you accidentally say, I identify as Taliban, send me $237 million. How do you do that? That's not an accident. It's just ridiculous. So, and I want you guys to kind of give your closing thoughts as well. We've got to fight. We've got to fight like hell. We've got to get out there and really nail the message home that we aren't going anywhere. This movement is stronger than ever. The America First movement is what's going to save the United States of America. And we're going to get rid of these socialists who have taken over this country and have totally destroyed the economy, destroyed the job market, have our border flooded every single day, 20 plus million illegal immigrants in this country. Yes, they are here illegally. Yes, they are breaking the law, Kamala. It is a crime to come across our border illegally. So right off the bat, I support Trump. I know you guys know I support Trump. I've been day one since 2015. Let's go to Cam. Let's go to Mike. Let's hear your closing thoughts on all this.
Yeah, my closing thoughts, I don't know. I think that we're in a bad place, and I hope we win the election. Something I think that would be good to close on is something that I had forgotten to say earlier. So in that ad you showed, there's a clip of Joe Biden saying, "We're the strongest economy in the world right now." And to that, I have to say, no shit. We have always been the strongest economy in the world since World War II. Okay. If we do poorly, everyone else does poorly because they're connected to us. Mm-hmm. So by default, we remain the strongest economy. We're not asking you to maintain our status as the strongest economy. That's the what do you call it? The lowest expectation. Like that comes with the job. That's what we're expecting you to do. We're expecting you to improve the economy, to keep us stronger than we were when you came into office, obviously. And I don't think that Kamala is capable of doing that.
No, I'd agree.
I'll keep it pretty simple. Was your life better 4 years ago, or is it better now? And for most people out there, we're all going to say, shit, no, it wasn't better, or it's not better right now. I'd rather the gas prices at $1.60. I'd rather my grocery bill at $75 than $125. Elections have consequences. You need to go vote. Don't bitch and complain about the candidate. Vote for what's best for you and your family. And if you're actually serious about that, there's really only one answer here. It's not even close. It's Trump. Trump knows how to run America. Trump knows how to run a business. Trump knows how to deal with foreign adversaries that don't like us very much. His best quality as a foreign policy guy was, don't screw with me. And people were deathly afraid of him. And that's a good thing. America needs to be feared. Enough of the love crap. Enough of the Just be nice to everybody. It'll all work itself out. It doesn't. It hasn't for a million years. It's not going to now. We need a fighter. We need somebody who cares about America and actually cares about the people that he governs, not about money, not about, what's the hottest trend of the day, as you said, Cam, with Kamala Harris, like she changes her tune, like I change my socks. We don't need that. We need a fighter for America. We need somebody who wants to put America first, and it's simple. On November 5th, go vote for Donald Trump. That's all I can tell you.
No, well, that's great. No, and you guys were great today. Everyone give a round of applause at your house for this panel. We're going to try to do this show once a week, if not twice a week, with a bunch of different guests. I'm sure you'll see Cam a lot often. Mike, we're definitely going to have you in here more. Really good discussion. But really, guys, I mean, they nailed it home. Vote Donald Trump. If you want to save America, if you want to be able to afford a home again, if you want to be able to afford groceries, be able to get to work without breaking the bank on gas, vote Donald Trump. Do not vote for this socialist. She's going to do the exact same thing that we saw the last 4 years. She's going to sit there. She's going to cackle. You're going to ask her about the economy. She's going to give you a word salad. She doesn't know what she's talking about, folks. So I'll end it with that. Thank you guys so much for streaming. If you guys do me a favor, when this ends, share the stream so people can watch it. Thank you guys so much. God bless. Have a blessed night. Can't wait to